and at it.
Up and at it. But this has been an interesting week. It's been an interesting week from Sunday come right down. Every day for me just been filled with unexpected twists. Not necessarily bad or good, just unexpected. It's unexpected twist, but it is the penultimate day to the weekend. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to the weekend. Any of these weeks where we don't have 2 or 3 days off, people be like, I can't wait for Friday. But yeah, that's kind of where we at. But I don't think you gave the people the date, Kevin.
Oh, it is Thursday, October 7th, and the first week of October is basically done.
Oh, boy, officially over.
I mean, like this lighting, look blue. My glasses make me feel like I'm underwater. Like, they look very thick. I mean, they look very thick in this lighting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see glasses anymore. Maybe because I wear glasses all the time. They're just some normal. Like I don't even.
They're just always there.
Yeah. Let me see what I have this background music. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, vibes. Somebody actually told me that they listen to this show for the background music. I was like, really? Okay. You never know what appeals to. You never know what appeals to our listeners.
Well, I mean, that means they're listening, so it's a win for us.
Indeed.
Let us jump to your updates. Before we do that,
I was about to say,
I forget this Thursday.
Yeah.
Definitely forgot this Thursday. I just said it's Thursday, but I didn't register. It was Thursday, and on Thursday we grind some gears. So, who has a gear to grind? I have one.
No.
Don't wake me up out of my sleep.
Oh boy, that's a big one.
I truly dislike being woken up out of my sleep. In multiple ways. Like I don't like being accidentally woken up. Like, I mean, I understand. Like let's say for example, somebody dropped something in nearby, and the sound wake you up. I mean, you can't really control that. So I would mean my absolute upsetness for that. I'm annoyed, but I ain't upset. What I truly dislike is when I am woken up out of my sleep. Especially like when I just fall asleep and you wake me up. It's upsetting. Then, on top of that, like, the one I hate most is when you are tapped and ask if you're asleep, and they ask if you're sleeping. Or even worse, they keep calling your name. Kevin, until you actually wake up, and then when you wake up, you were sleeping? No, you just have to call my name 9 times for me to realize that you were calling my name.
The thing is, because I am because I hate that so much, like I'm so conscious of trying not to wake up people. Like
me too.
I just got to extreme lengths to try and
not to wake up somebody.
Right. I just get this weird foggy headache, especially if I just fallen asleep and then I get woken up. I get this weird foggy headache feeling.
Yeah, it just gives me a headache.
And it really does take me a while to get out of it, man. Like it take me a while to center again, and it'll just be, especially if it's sleep that you needed. That's that needed sleep.
You really need when you really just need to crash.
Something that happened to me that just really ground my gears, and I had to tell the person about it. So I was in where was I? It was down the post office. Yeah, I was on the post office. And that's another gear to go into. Where is it that
post office?
Where is it in 2021? I still gotta be buying stamps. Let me understand. I can mob bank you. I can pull out my card and use it.
You mean just go to the counter, pay, and they put the envelope in the machine and just print the postage on it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I think part of it is
Holding on to nostalgia.
not only that. I think. Well, what would be the reason for it in the first place? It would have to be they just don't want all these government agencies taking money, right? No, my thing would be then giving the option to pay you without using cash.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, if you don't want these agencies to be taking cash, then give them a point of sale system where they could just don't take cash. Because my thing is the stamp process that much? Like, what if you drop on the stamps? Now somebody missing a $50 stamp?
Brother, like you want something up the what do you call it there?
You want something from passport office, you gotta carry a stamp.
You gotta carry a
You want
stamp.
something from the police station,
You gotta carry a stamp.
but you're a police record, you gotta carry a stamp.
Which
means
I
I have to go down to the post
Yep.
office,
Yep.
go get the stamp, go up there. Like, can we just cut? Like, I honestly, I am really ready for St. Kitts to move into the age that it's in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
because like these, and my thing is like is these government agencies, like, why are they still operating in such, and it's tradition. Okay, but at what point does tradition impede progress?
Yeah, but not only that, we can make new traditions.
Like, exactly. Like, okay, stamps can still be available. Stamps are still available in every country that does not run on stamps. But can we just not have to use stamps for everything? Like, it's just to understand, and I hate it. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
like, honestly, at this point,
is.
it's stupid. Like, just
Yeah.
I understand the purpose of the stamps is so that these offices don't have cash, but there are other options.
Yeah.
Because there are places that simply say we do not accept cash.
That's all. That's all.
Debit or credit payments only. You walk with a debit card, you plug it in the machine, type, done.
But anyway, so I was in there getting stamps, unfortunately. And I'm waiting in line, and I'm on my phone. And I'm scrolling. I was actually scrolling Instagram. And this lady behind me starts laughing. But she laughs on cue to what was
With your stuff.
So I was like, wait, what can I hear by? I said, maybe it's a coincidence. So I am there, I am scrolling. And the woman goes like, So I look around, I said, Missy, looking at my phone? The woman ain't even try to deny it. Yeah. The woman say, I love Dave Chappelle, I can't wait for the new... Dave Chappelle literally on my screen. I say, I love Dave Chappelle, I can't wait for the new special to come out. I
do when I feel like that's happening. I go in a chat and I type to somebody. As I hate when fast and people looking on the phone. And just hit send. I just make sure to crank up the brightness and like
make sure you can see that.
Sometimes. Yeah, I just make sure the phone isn't like in your view. Crank up the brightness so you could see exactly what I'm typing, and then I just type. I hate when fast and people look on my phone. Yo,
I can't understand nothing in there for you. It's like, were you literally just staring at my phone screen? Like, mate, that day just get to me by, like, it happened to me a couple of times, and just like, what? How is this a thing? Brother, like, even people who are close to me, I make it, it's a thing for me, I don't look on people's phone screen. Even it's so much a thing that even when you're showing me something on your phone, it feels uncomfortable.
My thing is, right, like, I know our eyes lock to motion and light. So like, if I'm sitting on if I'm sitting somewhere, or let's say all of us on a bus or something, and you pull out your phone and unlock your screen, my eyes automatically go to the motion in the room, and which is the light, or the motion on the light. But then I'm gonna look away because it's just like, eyes locked, it's a phone, not my business.
Right.
For me, it's like just like, why do we allowed to like be all up in people's phones and like,
bro? And
the thing is too, like you said, when people give me their phones to look at things, it's a little uncomfortable because for me it's just like, because sometimes people are like, look at this video, and then they hand me the phone, and I'm just like, you can just hold it, like,
Yeah.
And then sometimes they show you something. And it's like, oh, yeah, you go scroll, and I'm like,
But it's anxiety, big anxiety. As a matter of fact,
like I'm like, I don't want to scroll.
I'd tell people, man, just send it to me, man. Send it to me. Like,
and I just make sure to ask, like, which way to scroll. It's like, oh, anywhere. And I'm just like,
But it's big anxiety. But I don't look in people's phone, me G. And when people look in my phone, I just be like, strangers. We ain't even talking about like a significant other or something. Who actually the links that these girls going to get in your phone is ridiculous, eh? But let me tell you something. Quick, go on a quick tangent. If you take up yourself and go in somebody's phone and you find something, blame yourself, eh? They know who sent you in there. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. I just don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how you could just kind of stay there and get locked in. Like, at what point does it click that me am I looking in somebody's like phone? I mean, I don't know. But that was I was so angry. And the thing is, at the time, I don't know what to do besides hide my phone. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I got to start just doing that trick you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I just seriously do it. And then the thing is, too, sometimes, like, if I'm really if I'm in a really passive aggressive mood, I will go into my settings and turn up the font size and then type the message. Because my font is on the smallest it could be. And for me, if you could see what's on my screen, if you could see the text that's on my screen, you are way too close because the font is the smallest it could be.
Right.
But I and my another pet peeve is like when you give somebody your phone and they just start scrolling and going about it, and I'm just like, why? Like, if I give you the phone, I say, oh, look at this picture I took. I asked you to look at this picture I took, not look at the catalog of pictures I took. So nobody send you anywhere else. So, like, where you going?
Oh, people, you see, we need to. This is what I keep talking about on this show here. Like, what school's really teaching us by? These are the kind of things, phone etiquette. Phone etiquette. I don't know when last time was a Venn diagram, but daily there's people who walking around looking in people's phone. Phone etiquette, guys. Let's get on the curriculum.
It's ridiculous.
There should just be a course in school. Like, let's call like how to be a decent human being. Human decency. That should be the name of the course. Human decency, and it should be in every school. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I don't know what it would take to get people out of that trend, because it's happened to me several times, and I was just like, this can't be a thing. RCE55 is commenting online, and he's saying one of the things that grinds his gears is holding a conversation with someone who suddenly tunes you out. Yo, I just stopped talking, and then when they check back in, I'll be like, no, it's fine. But no, I was just nope, it's fine. Just continue wherever you went, go back there. Especially if it's something important, like, and it's happened to me several times. I actually have this one friend who's notorious for that. So when she does it, she knows now. Just say sorry and move on, cause me going back to that place. That conversation dead. It's over. Imagine you're busy there talking to somebody, and you just recognize that the person have no idea what you're saying. They're just in a different world, either in the phone or wait. What if it's in the phone, they're gone. But some people just literally just go into their own thoughts in the middle of the conversation, go into their own thoughts, and you just there banging your mouth, talking, inhaling, exhaling, forming words, and they have no idea what they have no idea what you're talking about. It's crazy. I don't know if I'm guilty. See, the thing about it though, a lot of these things, I just really do some self-reflection and wonder if I'm guilty of any of these things. I really I really try not to be. There's people who don't have that level of self-awareness. I'm realizing, like, they would complain about things, not recognizing that they are a main culprit of the thing that they're complaining about. But we have another roundabout gear. I feel like this is the theme. I feel like this is the theme for this show. The roundabouts. How people use the roundabouts. I know a lot of people, Regine, who use the center of the roundabout. The straddle line, and like you're saying, they have no idea which lane they should be in. So they just think. And this is what I keep telling people. When you come to the roundabout, you have to be so aware because you don't know who you're in the roundabout with. As well as just don't pass anybody. If somebody is in front of you, just don't pass them. It don't matter how slow they're going, just let them go. Because you don't know when they're going to decide to exit the roundabout. It don't matter what lane they're in. You could be going the same exit from the inner lane. You could be driving behind them in the inner lane and they're in the outer lane and they cross over in front of you. Yeah, roundabouts be wilding. It's only by the grace of God that we don't have accidents daily in the roundabouts. Two places that alert me to the fact that there is a higher power. Roundabouts in general in St. Kitts, and of course the circus, which really and truly is a roundabout. But the fact that the circus isn't just feared as a place where you don't know if you're gonna make it out is amazing to me. The way that the cars and the people and the carts and the vendors and the taxis and everybody interact in the circus is amazing to me, that we just don't have like an ambulance and standby there to just take up people. The only thing that could explain how the circus functions is the existence of a creator. And he probably, for his own amusement, sits up and look at her amusement, depending on what you subscribe to, and look at the circus and be like, look at my handiwork. There's no other explanation. There's no other explanation for what has happened in the circus. It's just absolutely amazing to me. But guys, if you have a gear to go and call in, I feel like talking to some people today about their gears. We'll get some good gears of the callers. So if you have a gear to go in, feel free to call in and share it with us right here on Island Tea. The Duke Runaway. Let me see what the Duke's saying. Okay. Oh, so somebody talking about the stamp thing. Somebody saying government has to employ people to sell stamps, and of course they're saying it in jest. But at the same time, if it's about employment, then just employ cashiers at the government agencies, and then you're good. So you get even more employment by allowing people to pay using other forms of payment. So maybe that's what the government. Maybe that's what we need to preach to the government. Say, hey, why watch you call you 3 more people here? Even though the wage bill right now is ridiculous. Oh boy, Tej, big up yourself. And yeah, all the people that have been joining us lately. I've been talking to some people who are fresh on the show, fresh viewers, listening once or twice, and yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys who take time and join us daily. It's yeah, trust me, we really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Being able to come here daily and just have fun and build with people and learn too, because I learn a lot from the people right on the show. Kind of forced me to be up to date with certain things that's happening and just kind of be aware of what's happening. Even though you come here and talk a lot of nonsense half the time, but you got to talk some sense in between. So yeah, appreciate all you guys who log on daily. All the people who turn your radios to Win FM 98.9 just to be able to spend some time with us in the morning. Appreciate you. But guys, we're gonna move on from going in your gears, because right now it's tea time. Now, I know most of you know generally what we do right at the start of tea time, and so I'm sure this information, you're already done feeling down, you're already feeling a little heavy, but yes, it is what it is, man. And I'm speaking about the COVID update for Tuesday, 5th October, and this is as of 11:59 p.m. So, confirmed cases in the last 24 hours, 61. Yes, you heard correctly. 61 as in 61, as in the number after 60. And right before 62. That's the 61 we're talking about. No, I remember, if it wasn't last week, probably a week before, when the CMO was somewhat hoping that we were coming out of what she termed the third phase, I think it was. And I remember asking myself, like, what gives her the impression, one, that this is a wave to begin with, and two, that we coming out of it because we got one report with 8 cases? Again, I'm not in the position that these people in, so I don't have all the information they have, but based on the information I do have, I was wondering what was missing. I was wondering what was the missing link in the puzzle, because I just couldn't see the picture that she was seeing. But yeah, guys, so in the last 24 hours, we have 61 new cases. That brings the total number of cases in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis since the start of the pandemic to 2,246. Yikes. So active cases right now is 1,073. That's 1,073. And the recovered cases are 1,157, which means recovered cases actually jump up and jump past active cases. This thing like a real hotly contested race between active cases and recovered cases. They're going back and forth for the lead. And just to give you a breakdown, the number of cases in St. Kitts is 1,866 since the start of the pandemic, and in Nevis, they're now at 380 since the start of the pandemic. And unfortunately, so far in the Federation, we've had a total of 16 deaths attributed to coronavirus. Wow. Guys, be safe. Right? Be safe. Make wise decisions. Again, I think we're at a point now where you almost have to believe that we are going to be exposed to this thing at some point. And it's going to be important for us to yes, but it's gonna be important for us to really still not look at that fact and make it mean it's time for us to just don't care. Why, if I'm saying, somebody asked me the other day, why if I keep saying that the horse has left the stable, that I still encourage people to be safe and sanitize, do your research. If you're going to vaccinate. If you're not, then adhere to all the other protocols. People was like, "Man, understand? You say the horse left the stable, and you're still telling people to be safe and things like they're trying to avoid the virus, and you don't say everybody can get it." I say yes, but I don't want everybody to get it at the same time.
So the like maximo.
I say I don't want everybody to get it at the same time.
Maximo. Because my thing is, if the horse, let's take out an actual horse. So the analogy that the horse has left the stable means that, you know, it's now roaming wild. It's, you know, it's, you know, the horse is running wild. We can't really control it. Do we sit down and watch the horse continue to run wild, or do we try to stop the horse? If your dog gets out your yard, do you say, dog gone? Or do you try to find the dog? Do you try to track down the dog,
Fido,
get the dog back in the house?
Hey, Fido.
Like, no? So currently the horse has left the stable. We've had an outbreak, big time. We've had an outbreak, and this is the biggest outbreak we've had, because active cases are now topping 1,000. That don't mean that, we are having an outbreak. Does that mean that we continue to assist the outbreak in outbreaking, or do we try to stop the outbreak?
Yep. So, and not only that, like, I mean, just we're talking about even the management of the crisis. We know that we have limited resources, and so what we have to do is still be safe, still allow people to still ensure people adhere to the protocols, so that we just don't get overwhelmed and put undue strain on our resources. That's kind of like where I'm at. Like, we shouldn't really put undue strain on the resources. But anyway, the main thing is just, guys, be safe. Be safe, please. And however you choose to protect yourself, you know, have some discipline about it. I think what's happening is that a lot of people are, you know, lapsing in certain scenarios, lapsing in certain areas, and that's kind of making it difficult for us to keep the numbers down. You know, you go over by your partner, you know, you take IMS, you run some FIFA, or you go over by your grandmother, and you're by your grandmother, so you ain't studying that you was at work all day with Sandra, who just decided she ain't wearing she mask. You're going by your grandmother, you're going over by your auntie, and with all, you're going to live with your cousin them, and it's your cousin them, so you take off your mask and thing and whatever. Nah, you could just, you know, make sure you get to the house, wash up, you know. I know some people who actually keep like a shirt or something in the vehicle, so if they visit somebody, they just kind of pull it on, so they don't have on the clothes that they had on all day when they enter into somebody else's home or whatever. So like there's ways to really minimize the risk.
There's options.
And exercise them, even if it might feel a bit inconvenient. You know, we just want to keep everybody as safe as possible, and so we get to a point where we really get the numbers down and are able to give people who do need assistance the assistance that they need in a timely manner. Because the resources ain't just, you know, ain't like, it only puts a strain on COVID and COVID patients and things. No, like, they have a whole healthcare system that functions as such, right? And so I saw it happening in Jamaica. I had a friend who had a brother who got in a vehicular accident, and on a regular circumstances, you know, he would have gone there, gotten his injury looked at, addressed, maybe reset the bone, put on a cast, relax for a couple of days, and then head home. But because of the situation in Jamaica and where he was at, the hospital was at its max, and so he ended up catching an infection, because the time between when he got there and when he was able to get attention, it really put him at risk. So I mean, these are the kind of things that we have to bear in mind are happening, and do our little part to try and ensure that don't happen here. Right, that don't happen here. So hopefully people keep
Seen for a lot.
Yeah. But for some good news, at least for persons who looking to travel, we had some good news come out last night. The new SRNO came out last night, but people really focusing on one particular aspect as it relates to COVID protocols, and that is the time required for fully vaccinated persons entering the country to quarantine.
And everybody's excited about that, because I saw a lot of people were genuinely excited about it, especially like the foreign nationals. They were like, "Oh my gosh, now we could because if we have to really think about it, most foreign nationals pop in for like a weekend, a few days, and for to spend those few days locked in quarantine, and then you basically leave quarantine to go straight back to the airport is a bit of a deterrent.
Yeah, it's a huge deterrent.
So this now opens up the opportunity for people to actually return for the short times that they do. Because I know like a lot of people come in on like a Saturday or Friday, and then they leave on the Monday, Tuesday, literally a few days. So now this gives people the opportunity to actually come. And there's also the option to quarantine at home if from an approved
location,
once approved by the task force. So hey, so options opening.
The thing for this too is persons who want to come home to show last respects to loved ones who would have passed too. I think that's a big one. And this thing actually was announced just in time for everybody returning from Miami Carnival. We got a load of people going Miami Carnival. A load of kitchens up there right now. And not only kitchens. So I know they must be excited knowing that
they can now come back and only have to do the one day.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of the Miami Carnival events are also requiring vaccinations. So if you're there, you're probably vaccinated, because you probably wouldn't be able to do much if you weren't. So those coming back would be able to just do their one day and go.
Yeah.
But I would like, I want a little bit more understanding as to how this one day works though. Is it like the last time where they tell you 3 days and then 3 days and then wait? Is it 1 day and wait? Or is it 1 day you land your test, next day you get your results, you're out? Like,
yeah, I would hope happens is that you test at the airport and then go directly into quarantine 24 hours after, and then 24 hours. That would be my thing. But I think what is happening is that you quarantine, and then at the end of the 24 hours you test, and then you have to. So you really end up being 2 days if that's the case.
Which is why I said if that's the case and it defeats the purpose, I think what would be a great option is to have a testing facility set up at each airport. I know each airport in St. Kitts and Nevis, they've constructed temporary buildings for COVID screening. I don't think it would be a bad idea to turn those screening rooms into testing rooms as well. Everybody wait in this room and we test one by one. We register your kit with a specific number. Same way, that's how they do them anyway. Then you go straight into quarantine. Your results are then sent off to the lab immediately, and your results will be returned the next day. Especially since our capacity for testing has now increased.
Yeah.
And will be increasing when Nevis jumps on board too. So I think that would be a great option, because I come in on Friday, I'm out on Saturday, that really gives me the opportunity to do things and plan things and spend some money in the country. Because if I'm only scheduled to be there for 4 days and I may basically 3 of them get consumed by quarantine, then I'm like, what I'm here for?
Yeah. But either way, it's a decrease it is a decrease in what was there before, and it's gonna be very much welcome. Even for me, the thing that had been really stifling my ability to accept job offers was the quarantine time. Like when it was 2 weeks, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for me to travel to Miami, do a show, and then come, and then it take me 3 weeks to reintegrate into society. Because depending on what day the show is, I might not be able to catch a flight until the weekend, and then so that might be close to a week, and then when I get here, another 2 weeks. So yeah, 3 weeks to do one event really wasn't making a sense. And so that really kind of crippled my options in terms of work once things started to open up in other places and in other parts of the world. But no, with this yeah, it's more of an option now. A band or a company might be more willing to compensate you for your 1 day quarantine as opposed to the 14-day quarantine at a hotel. So it's definitely welcome news for a lot of people. And I think it really shows that we are just kind of plowing ahead and gradually getting to the point where the view of COVID is not the same. Like, imagine we're doing this when we have thousands of cases, active cases, right? So, yeah. And the talk is that, hey, but yeah, now we have a vaccine and whatever, so people have the option to protect themselves and stuff like that, which is true. But there's a definite change in how people are perceiving corona and the seriousness of it and that kind of thing, which is interesting to me. It's very interesting to see how this is developing. So you're just watching on here. I'm just watching on this whole thing.
Relax.
Sit back, relax, enjoy the movie. Not my circus, not my monkeys. It ain't even that, the truth is just that I'm not in the decision making seat. Right? I'm not in the decision making seat. So yeah, the kind of decisions are being made now are way above my pay grade, bro. Way above my pay grade. So unfortunately, you just kind of have to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. I wonder at what point I haven't been looking at the briefings in their entirety. Has there been any discussion from the CMO or from Dr. Wilkinson as it relates to the immunity provided by vaccines versus immunity created by recovery from the actual virus? You heard any of the local officials talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
No? Okay. There's a lot of recoveries there now.
So.
We got a couple of thousand people that recovered. Like, do they play into immunity?
That's a good point. And then remember too, as we discovered during the early stages of this pandemic, the natural immunity, which is, after recovering from COVID, does not last very long. Most of the data at the time showed like a 3-month immunity period, and then they said like after 3 months antibodies were like no longer found, or the amount was really low. I don't know if that's changed since we now have different variants, because that also plays a factor, but
But I guess when we talk about immunity, like, and again, sometimes these words mean different things, right? Or we have different understandings of the words, because what immunity mean, you can't get it, or immunity just mean that you're more resistant to the illness part of it, so serious illness and death. And if that's the case, that don't happen when you have the disease already. You're not less likely to get sick the second time. And like you said, the variants are part of the whole conversation. So I like the local doctors to kind of talk about that as well. But we have somebody trying to get in on the conversation. Good morning, caller, 11 Island T. What's up?
Yeah, good morning, man. How are you?
Morning, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely trying to get in the conversation. Yeah, I listened to Premier last night, right? And this new, arrangement with moving away from the quarantine and the returning nationals and residents. But from what I can understand, he's saying that, it depends on what time of the day, I guess, you come in. You should be able to. It appears to me that they're going to be using the rapid test. Is that correct?
No, we're still not using the rapid test, but it is able for you to get results within 24 hours doing the PCR testing.
Okay, 24 hours means that they're going to extend you into the next day. But when I listened to him last night, from what I heard him say, he said that persons come in and they're going to be tested on arrival. And once they test negative, it appears to me that he's saying that they're going to be released the same afternoon. Because what I heard him say was that you will be able to come in, take your test. If you're negative, he said that you're going to be able to go out and have dinner the same afternoon, same evening. So that means to me that you're getting released right away. And around the Gulf the next morning. Somebody need to put that in perspective. Anyway, let me piggyback a little bit away from that. The way I feel right now, man, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, the government, they're not going to be able to hide behind this COVID thing for too much more longer. The way how I see it, they need to come out with a plan to move the country forward, because I see not only Sincus and Nevis, but, here we am from in the United States. The state I'm in right now, North Carolina, we already moving towards fully opening up, and just learning to live with COVID, because COVID doesn't have the same impact like before. The narrative is changing. So inside the Federation of Sincus and Nevis, I see that the government should start moving towards that, man. They should start fully opening up the place, let everybody start working and everything, and then just let people start living with COVID. For those persons who don't want to utilize the vaccine, if anything happens to them, well, so be it. I'm saying? The vaccine is available, and, I would be encouraging the people to take the vaccines, because when you look at the statistics, it's more, beneficial to go with the vaccine to try to pull the country forward. But, the debate goes on still, yes, but, it's time that we start trying to move the wheel a little bit. The government should start thinking about moving the wheel.
So,
all right, but that's my contribution, man. Thanks.
All right, thanks. So, these conversations will be very interesting to me, because when you say start making a plan to basically open up, I believe things like the announcements last night shows that the government on the path. The fact that we're not locking down, I think it shows that the government is on the path. Like, that's pretty much where we're heading. Now, with that being said, I also does wonder when people say open up and move forward and thing without much other conversation around how that would look. Are they aware of what that looks like in places that have done it? That's always interesting to me. Like, the open up conversation is always interesting to me, based on the fact that it generally just centers around, we're gonna just have to learn to live with it. It's almost like you kind of just throw your hand up in the air and be like, look, this is what it's gonna be, and who dead, and who live, and we just gotta learn to live with it. And that's what it feels like a lot of times when I hear those conversations. But the thing is, we see what that looks like. Right in the Caribbean. So that's very interesting to me. But we have somebody on the line. Carla, good morning. You're live on Island Tea. What's up? Oh, we lost a call. Feel free to call back. We just have a few minutes before we go into our next segment. Let's see if this caller. Yep. Good morning, caller. You're live on Island Tea. What's up?
Good morning.
Morning.
Island Tea. I'm enjoying my tea.
Hey.
Good morning. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Listen, the caller just called in. I listened to Premier Brantley last night, and that's not what I heard. I'm not sure what he was listening to, but that's certainly what I heard. I did not hear that you would be tested when you come in. You would be tested. You have a 24-hour quarantine. That means that you're not going anywhere that same day. And Premier Brantley kept saying that he's not sure why people are confused by what he's saying. It's a 24-hour quarantine, and you're not tested when you first come in. You're tested later on. Or if I will dare say, the way things have been going is that you probably get tested the very next morning. I always warn my friends abroad, this 24-hour or 2-day or 3-day means put another additional day on it. Because the truth is that you have to clear that time frame, and then the test comes.
I think what happens is that I think what happens is people just go based on what they say the quarantine time is, not recognizing that the test then comes at the end of your quarantine cycle, and then you're released once you get a negative test. I did not get the impression at all that really they're going to be doing any rapid testing. Right. I know that's not what was said. I know that's not what was said. Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to, like you're saying. I think you're in quarantine, and then as a matter of fact, I'm looking at his tweet, and he says and be tested within 24 hours and released once negative.
Exactly. So. It's unfortunate what has been happening. It seems to me the testing procedure, they have to step up their game. And if I would dare say, there are a lot of people unemployed. If it's a matter that they're understaffed, get some people to get in there and help them move these tests along, because people are sitting around waiting for too long.
Well, I think the thing about it is it's probably not on the testing end in terms of collecting the samples, but in terms of actually going through the samples. Of course, there's going to be limits to that, because you would then have to get more machines. You'll have to get people trained on those machines, people who understand the sequencing, and then of course you'll have to get the machines calibrated and all of that. So in terms of collecting the samples, I don't know if that's really where the bottleneck is, because I think the bottleneck is actually the actual scientific process and using the machines.
The collection of the samples, that's the impression I get.
Right. So I don't know if you could just hire people and think that.
Teaching me patience, because I'm one of those I've been waiting to travel, and I've been pushing back, hoping that day will come. And we are one step closer to it. One day, we are one step closer to it. We just all have to be a little bit patient. This whole thing is so mind-blowing to us. We've never had to deal with it before, and we don't understand it. We don't understand it, and we just have to be patient. People are anxious. People want to come home. I want to see my child. My child wants to come see me, but he already told me, Mommy, I ain't coming down there to quarantine.
Right.
So what do you do? Let's just hang in there. We're down to 24 hours now. We hope it's only 24 hours and not much more. And hopefully one day soon we're going to hear the doors are thrown back open. But keep in mind that when those doors are thrown back open, it makes us even more vulnerable.
You're right.
It makes us even more vulnerable. I mean, we've now crept up to 16 deaths, and I looked at it this morning, I'm like, wow, how did we get there?
Yeah.
How did we get here, What is really happening? This is so frightening. So people just hang in there and just be patient, and let's just thank God that we're alive this morning to even talk about it.
Yeah, I understand, man. People just need to be safe. Yeah, just be
Yes.
safe. Yeah.
Stay safe. And wear your mask and do what you're supposed to do, because a lot of people are still not doing what they're supposed to do.
That's
And
true.
that in itself is a big problem. So no matter what gets left in terms of the quarantine and all that, if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we are going to be faced with some serious, serious consequences. You guys have a great day. Listen, I'm missing Jade. I am missing Jade. Where is she?
She should be back on Monday. She should be back on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woman
All right.
power in that place is good, huh?
Yeah, man.
Have a good day.
All right, you take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna be right back. Because we're going into Health and Herbal Tea. It's that time of the month again. So stay tuned. We're gonna be right back with more Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Currently, there are rumors and falsified reports circulating on social media about the novel coronavirus. For accurate information and updates, visit the Instagram and Facebook page of the Health Promotion Unit or the Ministry's YouTube channel at SynKits Health Promotion Unit or SynKits HPU. You may also visit online the World Health Organization or the Caribbean Public Health Agency. For further contact information, please contact the Ministry of Health for more info at 467-1172 or 467-1108. You can also be sure to follow the news to get the local COVID-19 updates. Let's all try to remain healthy and well. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
I don't know where you are, but I want you.
Hold on, stop. Think about the drink before you take a drop. Read up on the label on the back. They say science sugar low in fat, but don't be fooled by that. Drink some water, share some love. Tell your body you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell somebody you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell your body you're sweet enough. Drink some water, share some love. Tell somebody, yeah.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Island Tea right here on We Media SKN. And I have with me, joining me via Zoom, Iselin Phillip from Lake Health and Wellbeing for Health and Herbal Tea. So, Iselin, how are you doing?
I'm well. Good morning to my faves and friends. I'm doing very well this morning. How are you?
Very well. Okay, I don't know if I will go that far, but
Okay.
but well,
Good.
but well.
Okay. Okay, we'll take it. I see Kevin online, but no Jade today. Kevin, what about you? How are you doing?
Kevin, I don't know what's going on with Kevin. Kevin, like, he having a crisis.
Oh, really? Oh, so he's just named it. Okay, no problem.
He should join us in a little bit, though.
Okay, cool. Well, I'd like to say good morning to all listeners and viewers. Thank you again for joining us in another your monthly October dose of Health and Herbal Tea. As an introduction, I'm Iselin, your Advocacy and Research Officer at Lake Health and Wellbeing. For those of you who don't know, Lake Health and Wellbeing, we are a public health NGO in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we work to improve the health and well-being of our communities. And we do that in multiple ways by carrying out research, doing advocacy, implementing projects, and executing campaigns. So I'm here to give people a little bit of updated information on what we have going on, particularly as we continue rolling out our Yacht Season of campaign. So this morning, I actually want to start off by doing a couple big ups and congratulations. So I don't know if you remember last month, we were talking about we had our No SSB Drink Water Challenge, where we had quite a few people register to take a 2-week challenge of not drinking any sugary drinks and drinking only water.
Right.
The people who actually drank the most water were actually awarded prizes. So we had top 3 winners. So I actually want to shout out Janessa Clark, who placed first. Patricia Harris. You do, oh, you know Janessa? Okay, cool.
Nice.
So yeah, Janessa Clark, Patricia Harris, who placed second, and Bernard Maynard, who placed third. So they actually drank over 2,000 ounces of water within a 2-week period. Yeah, so I was like almost like 16 gallons of water in 2 weeks. So yeah, we want to like really big them up and thank them so much for participating, as well as to all the other participants that we had. So this challenge was actually part of the SK and Move 7-week campaign, and so about 2 weeks ago on September 23rd, there was actually an awards giving ceremony where the winners actually received a prize for participating and for drinking the most water out of all the participants. So big up and congratulations to them. Give them a little drum roll. So thanks for that. Oh, hello, Kevin. So nice to see your bright, smiling face.
The Duke is back. The Duke is back.
Cool. So also just kind of on that note, you know, bigging up our winners for our No SSB challenge and all the other participants. Want to also congratulate and thank the SK and Moves committee, which is actually commissioned by the Ministry of Health in St. Nevis. We really did a very good job executing the 7-week campaign and also the award ceremony that they had at the end. For all the other challenges, they also had a biggest loser challenge, a weight loss challenge. So want to congratulate all the other winners and participants of the other challenges and thank the SKN committee for a job well done. I think they did well this year in terms of executing the activities that they had scheduled in commemoration of SKN Move. So big up Ministry of Health and big up SKN Move.
Nice.
So that's my little intro there. So today, kind of want to get on to giving people an update in terms of what we're doing. I think last month I did mention that in terms of the campaign, you know, Your Sweet Enough campaign, which is, you know, as a health education campaign, kind of talking about the dangers and effects of consuming sugary drinks and how that contributes to the development of non-communicable diseases. We're actually kind of focusing now a little bit more on advocacy and lobbying for government policy in order to implement certain policies that will actually help to prevent and control the development of entities in the long run. So we're making a more direct engagement with policymakers. And on that note, just last month, this was kind of coming towards the end of the, on Carbon Wellness Day, we actually delivered and submitted a joint letter, a joint advocacy letter, calling the government to take action on implementing a national sugar-sweetened beverage policy. Now, this is an advocacy letter where we're pretty much, within that letter, we kind of recommended certain policies and kind of call government to action to implement some of these things. And when I said it was a joint letter, we actually had signatories of other CSOs as well as regional alliances, including the St. Kitts Medical and Dental Association, Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation, Because We Care Medical Student Association, the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, which is a regional coalition of public health NGOs, also the Caribbean Association of Nutritionists and Dietitians, and we also had an academic from University of the West Indies who works in health policy. So we had a few signatories to that letter where we're calling on sent to all members of parliament, calling on them to implement certain recommended policies that we know to be effective. And so want to thank all the signatories for their support on that. And for anybody who's interested in that letter, it's actually publicized. We posted it on our campaign website, and we've also made posts about it on our social media. So people can see it, and so people know that this is something that we've done. It was actually well received by members of Parliament. We know that they received it. So we kind of are continuing our effort to make sure that we can lobby and advocate for the certain policies that we need. Now, I know, I think last time, as you asked about seriousness, in terms of if we could make any statements on the government's seriousness around their considerations to any of these things that we've been talking about. No, I would say after, having submitted our letter and after kind of some development, I would say that, things are actually looking promising when it comes to the St. Kitts government in terms of their considerations around implementing some of these recommendations. And I would say that because so at the award ceremony for the SKN Move culmination of events, we had the Minister of Health who actually mentioned that the draft SSB policy that the Ministry of Health has developed is under review by PAHO. And so we know that there's movement taking place on that. And we know that, PAHO is now reviewing it. And then we also heard from our Prime Minister, who's also the Minister of Finance, and he did make mention of an SSB tax, which is something that is actually being considered as a fiscal policy in order to help with the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. Now, I'm saying that and highlighting that because, when a minister of government says something on a public forum, that is opportunity for us to, perk up and try to hold them accountable.
Indeed.
To some of these things, right? So that's good news for us. So it sounds promising. Again, it's nothing concrete, nothing definite. We haven't seen anything tabled in Parliament. We haven't gotten anything adopted by Cabinet, but it's definitely looking promising in that way. And so we here at Lake Health and Wellbeing, we continue our efforts to engage with our members of Parliament and also with the public. So kind of today, I kind of want to focus kind of the last bit of, our Health and Herbal Tea talk today on actually getting a sense of what people know and how people feel about the implementation of a sugar-free beverage tax, because that is specifically what the Prime Minister did mention. So, want to kind of talk a little bit about that and get your thoughts and get the public thoughts. So I'm hoping that people can share their thoughts in the comments and if they want to call in, that's also welcome, of course. So I kind of want to start out with that and kind of focus on that a little bit for the remainder of this half an hour. So just to give people an idea of what we're talking about. So what is a sugar-sweetened beverage tax, essentially? So that would be, it is an effective evidence-based NCD prevention policy tool where taxes on sugar-sweetened beverages, so things like sodas, certain juices, would actually be implemented. So it's like a consumer tax, essentially. So what we found is there are different types of tax design. So countries have either added a value-added tax, which is a consumption tax that's placed on the product whenever value is added at each stage of the supply chain. But most popularly, we find that there is an excise tax. So the approach is usually implementing an excise tax, which is a tax that is levied on the particular product at the point of manufacture. So excise taxes can be specific, so that would be based on quantity. So that's either the volume of the beverage or the sugar content. So for example, it would be if you say for every 100 milliliters of soda, we're going to add 25 cents or 10 cents, or for every gram of sugar in a beverage, we'll add 10 cents to the retail value. So that would be a specific excise tax. Or alternatively, there is an ad valorem excise tax. That's a fancy word to essentially say that you add a tax based on the percentage value of the wholesale price. So that's at the end price of the product. So if a soda costs $3, and we say we're going to add 20% tax to that, so we can add another 60 cents. So that's the different types of tax designs that are found when it comes to sugar-sweetened beverage taxes. And about over 50 countries worldwide have implemented some sort of SSB tax.
Yeah.
So in the Caribbean, we have 3 countries. Y'all know what those countries are? Anybody want to guess? Well, in the Caribbean, we have Barbados, Dominica, and Bermuda have actually implemented some sort of SSB tax.
Okay.
Yeah. In the long run, they said that apparently SSB tax is actually thought to be a triple win for government because they not only improve population health in the long run, but they also generate revenue, which we all know our little Caribbean governments be struggling to do. So they are good revenue generation, especially when that revenue can be earmarked and put back into public health. And it also has the potential to reduce long-term associated healthcare costs and productivity losses. And we know that, NCDs account for the majority of our health expenditures, particularly Medicare and needs. So With that, I just kind of want to get a sense of how receptive the public would be to the imposition of a consumer tax on things like sodas, juices, and these beverages that we know to be exceedingly high in sugar and that contribute to our ill health and things like diabetes and hypertension, those kind of things. So we can start with the two of you, Azim, Kevon, and if there's any response or comment on the wall. This is part of the research that we're doing. So what are y'all thoughts?
Run tax.
Run chats.
Run tax. No, see, the thing for me is that I think people are making decisions based on factors outside of just taste and desire, right? You go to the supermarket, the soda is more expensive than the water in some cases, right? And the soda is more expensive than even some of the local juices and stuff like that, which may have a lower sugar content, right? So people are making decisions based on their pockets, right? And if we really want to affect change in the way that you just outlined, then to me, this is one way to kind of nudge people to make healthier choices, right? I personally, I've been saying it since we've been, doing the show, and you've been bringing up these possible ways to try and help the situation. I've been fully for it, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm really happy to hear that. It seems as though it's being considered at the policymaker level. So we'll have to wait and see how it gets implemented. Though is one of the things that would really cause me to pause. I think in some cases, depending on how it's levied or how it's implemented, it has the well, sometimes it could really affect local producers more than the importers, depending on how it's levied and how it's implemented. And so that would be something that would have to be looked at. And you mentioned some of the different ways in which it could be implemented. So I'm really hoping that it's something that could be tailored specific to our specific situation, based on our consumer habits, to really get us the results that we want, and not unfairly target locals and local producers. That's kind of my only caveat. But I do think it's something that could really help to change behavior and help people make healthier choices.
Yep. And you raised a couple of, very important points there, I think, in terms of the approach to implementation. And that's something that we have certainly been in discussion about, in terms of the policy that's being drafted, has been drafted by the Ministry of Health in terms of their plans or recommendations as to how an SSB tax could be implemented. And the rate, too. The rate of the tax is also very important, because research has shown that the minimum rate that to actually have some kind of effect on consumer choices in order for it to be implemented has to be like minimally 20%. So we found, in the Bermuda case, they actually just released a study in terms of how effective theirs has been, and they actually implemented a tax of 75%. And they did it gradually over time. But that was found to, they actually found significant gains in a reduction of consumption of products with added sugar. So, it is really important, in terms of recommending that whatever the tax is, it be above 20%. So it has to be more than 20% in order to have some kind of real effect. And then also recommend for it to probably be implemented gradually over time. And that is to take into consideration, obviously, manufacturers of products, and also just kind of looking at our imports and how that might affect persons who, do the retail of these things. I think so, one of the things that I've actually, when I talk to people about it, and I know sometimes it's the consideration for folks, and if they think about it too, but one of the things that I think has come up is that people say, clear consumer choice is that the tax would probably be felt by those who are more likely in terms of a poor population, because you find that typically it's persons who are of a lower income bracket who typically tend towards buying these products.
Right.
And so I've gotten things from people that, well, it would be a tax that unfairly targets persons who already can't afford. Because you go to the supermarket and typically it's foods that are simply unhealthy that are usually more affordable. And so I don't know if that's a thought or if there's anybody who also agrees with that, or if we have a general consensus that, well, you only get affected by the tax if you purchase the product, which essentially that should be how it is. But I don't know if there was any thought or consideration around that, if that actually is a concern shared by many people. But that's something that I've gotten, and that's certainly something to think about for sure, because we already know unhealthy foods are typically what persons in lower class brackets lower income brackets tend towards, because it's just more affordable for them and their families.
Well, I think if you're going to actually make that argument, then you're admitting that people make these choices based on their pocket, right? And so perhaps the tax on SSBs, it could be one thing, but perhaps the government could look into subsidies for healthier options, right?
Right.
So that would help to offset the cost. Also, bear in mind that we've spoken about it here a lot, that you might save 10 cents on the soda, but the health costs that you then incur moving forward far outweigh whatever you might have saved on that big Coke. So
right. And that's true. And and so you said that, and I must say, so in the Bermuda case, so Bermuda actually implemented a 75% excise tax on products with high sugar content. But with that, they also implemented a subsidy on fruits and vegetables.
Right.
And so that kind of speaks to your point in terms of making healthy options more affordable. But I think one of the evaluations on the Bermuda case was that the subsidy that they implemented on fruits and vegetables was not large enough, so there wasn't as significant of an impact in terms of people purchasing more fruits and vegetables. And so that's a note that I found in terms of, when you implement a tax, that subsidies also need to be equally as grand or equally as large in order to be as effective. So that's a lesson learned. So I think that's important to note. And I would agree with you. I think we certainly need to do more in terms of subsidizing healthier food and beverage products in order to make it more affordable for everyone and accessible, because it's not at this point in time.
It's and that's one of the complaints that people have, right? In terms of trying to make healthier choices. It's just it's expensive to eat healthy, And so
it is.
and so recognizing that like you're saying, putting policies in place to affect persons' buying habits and to steer them towards more healthy, or just to make healthier options more affordable, would definitely go a long way in seeing the behavior we want to see. So
Right. I don't know if there are any comments on the one I can't see, but I mean, has anybody else contributed further? Is there anything? Because this is something that, as you say, we are advocating for, we have recommended, and we know that the government is seriously considering it. Because again, it would be a tax, and that produces tax revenue. And so even in terms of the revenue, if there was because one of the things that we find is that people seem to be more open to and more encouraging and more supportive of there being a tax if we can say that there's a guarantee that the revenue generated by the tax can go into public health, can go back into health prevention initiatives and programs.
So you're saying don't just take it and throw it in the consolidated fund?
Exactly. Exactly. And we've actually found, so based on, other trends in terms of other jurisdictions that have done it, there isn't, it's difficult for government. It has been difficult for CSOs advocating for this to be able to get a guarantee from government that the funds generated from the tax actually go back into public health. That's actually earmarked. And that's been a challenge. Because we found that the trend shows that the tax can generate quite a bit of revenue.
Yes, sir.
What happens to that revenue is usually down to ministries of finance as opposed to ministries of health. So because it is a fiscal policy.
Right.
So that, and we based on our just general surveys that was part of the initial SSC survey that we did at the launch of the campaign, we did find that persons who were just more supportive of a tax, when we said if a tax is implemented and the revenue put back into public health, like improving water infrastructure, people were more the number doubled in terms of support behind the imposition of a tax. So even on that note, it would be good to kind of get some feedback from the general public so that we can obviously feed that into government, to their considerations that people will be more supportive if they can give some kind of guarantee that the taxes revenue generated actually goes back into public health. So that's certainly the recommendation that we're making in terms of the revenue generated, not just, as you said, take it and put it into the consolidated fund.
I'd like to do that thereby. But yeah, I mean that seems logical, right? Like that seems like something that, and again, like you said, I would suspect that would help the general public to feel more comfortable with the imposition of the tax. Understanding that this money is being used for X, Y, and Z, and we could support it, and because we understand that it's part of a vision. Because this is what happens when that is not the case, then it comes off as if this is just another money-making scheme for the government.
Right, exactly. Even though, regardless, there would be kind of long-term,
positive health
effectiveness
benefits
in terms of people with their, there would be benefits because people would essentially, there are people, there's likely a proportion of people who say, fine, the soda beers is getting more expensive, better I just go buy some coconut water off the road. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually what we want to do. It's part of trying to change behavior. But as you said, in terms of support, people would be more for it if, we can feel that, yes, at least, there's this tax and it's a tax that actually, whatever revenue is generated goes back into public health, for some sort of programming that also further extends our effectiveness in terms of combating and preventing and controlling non-communicable diseases. It's yet to be seen. We continue our advocacy and lobbying for this, so it's something that you'll definitely be hearing more about. And, I realize we're at times, so I'm just going to try to wrap up on this. And, we're hoping to host a couple public consultation events and, round tables so that we can actually get, just kind of go into a bit more detail on how things like an SSC tax and also how it might connect with, all the different ministries and government can work together in terms of different policy initiatives to be able to extend the scope and reach of our work when it comes to combating non-communicable diseases. So kind of stay tuned and listen out for what we have upcoming. Again, we're kind of really trying to make sure that the public is informed and educated about what we have going on, because there's real work, and effort being put into having, policies implemented, having laws made, and so that we can actually move the dial forward when it comes to reducing the burdens that entities have on us as a federation and as a region. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, really got to thank you guys for the advocacy and the hard work that you guys have been doing as it relates to this type of this type of change that we want to see in our communities and our nations. I think a lot of times, people just have other things going on, right, and in their lives, and then to sometimes focus on this. And as important as it is, that's not their fight. And so to see that,
absolutely,
and to see that there's people who recognize the importance of stuff like this, and to work towards making these changes a reality. Really appreciate you guys for everything that you guys are doing.
Oh, thanks. That makes me feel good because, I be working hard. So, and I mean, of course, like as I take the point that it's true, there's a lot going on. There's so much going on. You guys, talk a lot about about different things every single day. And so there's a lot happening in just kind of this field. But of course, I think, it's true. I believe that it's true that they say the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. And, right now we looking real poor because our health is real poor.
Let's just ease that in there. Okay, yeah.
You just kind of gotta, that's the reality. That's the reality. And so, there are, Lake Health and Wellbeing. We're not the only organization. We're not the only association that's really doing this work. We have their other, public health associations, organizations in St. Kitts that actually, care about NCDs and actually also doing their work in their own spaces. So, like I mentioned, we have the Breast Cancer Foundation, some of the signatories, like Medical and Dental Association. They're also doing their own work in their own spaces. So there's work happening, and there's also a lot of regional work happening. So there's things happening. So I'm happy to make sure that people know about it and that people are informed. So thank you all. Also thank you, WinFM, and thank you, L&T, for giving us a platform to do that. I think it's really important that we all work together in our fight for better health and well-being.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been this month's edition of Health and Herbal Tea with our friends from Lake Health and Wellbeing. Aislinn, it's always a pleasure. Looking forward to see you again next month.
For sure. Thanks a lot. Take care, folks, and find and follow us on social media. That's Lake Health and Wellbeing, and stay tuned. I'll see you guys next month. Have a good day.
All right, guys, we'll be right back with more Island Tea right here with Media SKN. As I usually say, not going nowhere. We'll be right back.
All right. See y'all.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Devon and Azim, featuring Jade, Gwenny Gwen, Gwenisha, Gwyneth Paltrow, Gwenny Gwen, Idita Johnson, who is home having the time of her life because she doesn't want to be here.
And people got the nerve to be calling you about them, Miss Jade. Jade, Miss I know. Jade, Miss Morning, Jade.
Well,
oh man.
So let us get into some tea time. Hee.
Indeed.
I see Jade's lineup and upset some people today, but okay. So let's talk about something local first. So, wait, did we give the COVID numbers?
Yeah, I gave the COVID numbers, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about a post from the St. Royal Christopher Navis Police Force. So there is a juvenile that is in custody, assisting with investigation into a fatal shooting incident. On October 6, 2021, the juvenile is in custody, assisting with the investigation into an incident in which Kishan Richin of Newtown was fatally shot. An autopsy was performed on the body of the 34-year-old Richin on September 29 by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunez. Dr. Nunez concluded that death was result from a severe head injury due to a single gunshot wound to the head. Investigations into the matter are ongoing.
All right. Well, they have somebody giving assistance, so hopefully
Right.
there's some justice in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't, like, one of the things people don't understand when you have these situations that go unsolved, like, just, I mean, you got murderers walking on in your community, yeah?
Basically, just, in the shops with you, banging a beer with you next to you.
Yeah. Sometimes when you do certain things in life, it come easier the second time, and even easier the third time, eh? But even so, like, and I said this here a few weeks ago, it ain't matter what you was into, it ain't matter what kind of vibe the kind of life you live in and thing and all of that. Everybody got somebody that care about them, eh? Everybody got somebody that care about them, and those people want some closure and some justice. When they have loved ones that are lost, no matter what you perceive the person to be or the person used to do anything. Yeah, and just from a standpoint of national security, we can't have a feeling where murders go unsolved. You know what that does? Maybe encourage more people to commit crimes as well, because there's a perception. Because there's a perception that there's no consequence for my action. Mm-hmm. So without consequence, people continue to act. So yeah, hopefully we see something coming out of this investigation that results in justice. Yeah.
Sigh, heavy sigh.
Big sigh.
Let's talk about what you brought up earlier this week. So let's talk about the leaked Pandora records. A new report sheds light on how world leaders, powerful politicians, billionaires, and others have used offshore accounts to shield assets collectively worth trillions of dollars over the past quarter century.
Any Caribbean leaders implicated yet?
Wish. Let me get back some of that money. Perhaps the IMF. The report that's a mind-blowing thing. The internet. The IMF gets money from who? Then gives the money. Like, how is the IMF so powerful that they can loan money to countries and then countries have to pay them back? Like, how did the IMF get that much money to loan countries?
But not only that. Like, that's I could understand that, right? Because it could be countries that supply the IMF, right? My thing does be.
Well, I mean, yeah, but interest and so. But
yeah, but my thing does be why the payback terms got to include things like if you could build a school and hospital and so. Where you can't just be like, okay, here's the interest rate. Link us back in 10 years, and if you don't link us back in 10 Kevin, can you hear me?
Welcome back.
So we actually lost power here in the studio. That's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
now I'm actually just
thing.
trying to get things kind of back up and running, and everything is kind of just going crazy.
So doing its thing.
Yeah. I don't even
It's
understand what's happening to Zoom. Zoom is glitching. Let's see here. Pin. Okay.
Peach frog.
Yes, and all the what? Everything is wow. Okay.